Hi, my name is Annie Wendler, and I am an independent piano teacher in South Kansas City, Missouri. I teach in the southern portion of Kansas City as well as Johnson County. I have a studio of approximately 65 students, and we are thriving on learning piano and loving music. One of the questions that I get very frequently when people are calling to inquire about piano lessons is, do I need a piano? Or, we've got a small keyboard, will that do in terms of lessons for the child? And my answer is always that we want to provide your child, your little student, with the very best start we can. And the prevailing train of thought tends to be that you're going to get as good a start as the instrument that you are working on, which means that a small keyboard that is not full size or that does not have weighted keys or a real sound sample speaker system is not going to be the best start, because the child is actually hitting a small keyboard computer instead of an instrument. So there are several options out there if the family does not have a piano in the home, and that is a really important point, a piano in the home. Many times people will say, oh, well, grandma's got a piano, we can go over there and practice. But that does not always translate into reality. Sometimes people will say there's a piano at church, we can go practice. But again, when you have to leave the house and put that focus and practice time in at a location away from home, it is not a situation that's going to serve your child well in terms of learning and reinforcing everything that they are working on on a weekly basis from their lesson. So the piano that you have in your home, whether it is a good digital piano or an acoustic piano, is extremely important, because that is where the child is going to develop their first sense of touch, of learning how the instrument feels, of creating a sound. When we have an acoustic piano, they will learn to curve their fingers and use their thumbs in a way that will go right through that key to the bottom of the mechanism and create a full sound and a beautiful sound, which is going to eventually lead to great technique, fine articulation with phrasing and staccato and legato and all of the things that go into this, and they can never get that feel or that start in developing their senses with the piano on something that is not responsive. So if you're going to have a piano in your home, then you're going to have to, if you do not already have one, you've got several things to consider. And probably one of the most important things in most people's minds is budget. I think that there are many ways of budgeting in for an instrument, and I see this frequently in my studio. The opportunity to rent a piano is a wonderful thing. It is manageable, it is reasonable, and it will put that instrument in your home so you can see how your child will respond to the instrument and to the lessons. I see with students that get a piano in their house after they have begun a real sense of empowerment. They learn about the instrument. They learn to play the instrument. They learn to pull music out of an instrument, not a little computer. It's a very different thing. They're excited by this. It builds their confidence. It builds their ability to feel good with what they're doing and to express themselves, both musically and literally physically through the piano. I think that rental is a great thing. I know that there are good digital instruments to rent. There are acoustic instruments to rent. And I believe that that is a great first start for people who are considering the investment but want to ease into it with an instrument. When you provide your child a good piano, they are going to be excited by what they are doing. They are going to learn to create sound. They are going to learn how to create emotion through sound. They are going to learn another form of communication, which is extremely important in learning to phrase and to create musical sentences. It's like writing a great paragraph. You're communicating a story through sound, and the piano is like the greatest instrument for that. Yes, yes. There are a lot of programs. They're on YouTube, there are websites, there's a lot of things like learn to play the piano fast, be playing the piano in 15 minutes. But what you're going to want, especially for your child, is to have a teacher who is educated in pedagogy, who understands how to teach not only music but the actual instrument itself, who will start out from the very beginning with technique training, learning how to use the hands in a great and healthy way. You know, we have to consider the child's health in terms of their skeletal and muscular system in order to make sure that they learn to play without pain and tension. And you need a teacher for that. And you need a teacher that knows how to teach the written and spoken language of music, the notation and what all of the symbols mean and what the dynamic markings mean and everything. You need a teacher to understand as a child progresses and advances to know how to apply the 400 plus years of post-Renaissance music history, where each segment of that has a different style and different performance techniques and composers that worked at a certain with a certain goal in mind in order to create the music of their time. So yes, for technique, for rhythm, for note reading and manuscript reading, I think that a teacher is the best person to nurture a student through that process. Absolutely, absolutely. Blues and jazz really is a very normal outgrowth of a well thought out program, because as part of what we're doing in music, we present scales, we present chords, we present cadences and chord progressions, and eventually that is what leads you to being able to read music from a lead sheet, to understand the combinations of chords and chord progressions that go into blues or jazz, learning chord substitutions and everything. So as a natural outgrowth of the pedagogy material, if a student is interested in that, it's very useful. I personally believe that scales, chords, cadences, and everything need to have a very practical application. For many of my students, jazz and blues is that application. They love it and they feel strong in knowing that they understand how it's constructed and how to put it together. It's never, ever, ever too late. Never. I think that it is important for an adult student to realize that music is a wide area of study, and that it's not necessarily easy, but it is rewarding. And for adult students who are committed to the idea that they're going to learn something great and work at it to whatever extent they can, I think that it's a wonderful outlet. And it is, I have adult students that I watch have true fun with what they're doing. They love learning to play. They love the feeling of it, and it's fulfilling a long time goal and dream. As I said before, it is never, ever too late. I am not someone who necessarily quantifies practice time. I think that, sometimes 15 really good committed minutes wins out over a half hour or 45 minutes of just killing time any day of the week. So what we do in the lesson situation is work together to come up with an amount of time that's appropriate, useful, and yet not so intrusive on life, otherwise that it becomes a burden. When you give your child the opportunity, or when you give yourself the opportunity to experience music, to learn to make music, you're giving a gift. And the gift is the relationship that you will develop, or your child will develop with their instrument, the confidence and relationship they will develop with themselves in learning how to transcend a normal course of school and study, because this is something extra. You will see a student develop confidence and what we used to call poise, if you will. And that carries into every aspect of their school experience and of their personalities. When a child starts, and you got to understand this, when a child starts lessons, this is something new, and in general, it kind of intrudes on their life a little bit. And then they're going to realize that it gets a little bit hard. But this is good. This is good because it means it's registering to them what they're doing. And if you can work with your teacher and support the kids through a couple of good, strong years of lessons, during that time, they will learn a large amount of information. They will participate in several recitals. They may get to go play in a few festivals. And then they find out at school, so the kids are playing at school or at church or in scouts. And then it becomes relevant in their lives. It becomes something important. It becomes part of their identity. And they will never quit. I actually myself have students from the time they're 3 years old until they graduate from high school. And that's because we endeavor to make it meaningful. So if you're going to pursue this for your child, make sure to support it. Be enthusiastic about it. Be a loving and wonderful audience, and I promise you this will bring them benefits and joy that will enhance every aspect of their lives.